So
Y'all are quiet, man. It's probably because of the rain. The rain makes everybody quiet and then sleep. You know what? That's what I want. Eat some Old Bay popcorn and sleep. Same time. Don't choke.
just dump the bag.
Actually, I just put my face in the bucket.
All right, we are about to go live in 3, 2. All right, it's not gonna let's go live on Facebook, but we can still do it on Zoom. So, good evening, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, first of all, thank you everyone for joining in, both in person and on Zoom. I know there's still some folks joining us on Zoom. You know, the Eastern Shore time, they'll all be here by about 6:35. That's why I never start exactly on time. But I want to thank everyone for joining us in person and on Zoom on a rainy Eastern Shore night. So before we dive into tonight's conversation, I just want to kind of give a brief background, if I could speak, that'd be lovely. On a little bit about our town hall series. So since our founding in 2018 or 2017, every election cycle, we have had town halls leading up to our endorsement vote in March with all of the candidates for Congressional District 1 or those who want to seek our endorsements. Just so you all have the opportunity to meet them, to ask them questions, and to get to know them before you vote in not only the primary, but for who, as an organization, will get behind. So I want to let everyone know from the start, because we've got yelled at in past years for this. Town halls themselves are not endorsements. We are going to be doing town halls with Dan Shorts and some of the other candidates. So stay up to date on that. We'll be scheduling more and announcing them shortly. And then at the March monthly meeting, which will be right here in this building, or if you're on Zoom, we also have an absentee ballot. We will actually be voting on who we endorse, from everything from Congress to Central Committee and everything in between, in all 9 beautiful counties that we cover. This is our first cycle where we're covering all 9 counties for state and local races. We've had a lot of interest from candidates. Surprisingly, we've even got some Republicans seeking our endorsement this time around, which I thought shocking, because we don't exactly hide that we're a progressive group. But so we're glad to see that people view our organization and know who we are, and want to get our support. Um, so for that, I just wanted to let everyone know on that front. Tonight, we're also working with some new equipment. We have fixed it, so now if you join us on Zoom, you can actually hear what's going on. We'll have this handy dandy microphone for when we do Q&A in person. We'll hand you the mic. You'll talk in it. They'll actually be able to hear you. Such a beautiful process. I'm sure people on Zoom will enjoy us instead of, having to repeat the questions like in the past. Thank you for Connor for spending the last 2 days getting everything set up. So thank you, Connor. So as you talk in the microphone, please hold it to your face and so people can hear you. Um, with that, hello. Okay, there we go. Okay. With that, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our speaker for tonight. Our speaker tonight is not a career politician backed by corporate interest. She's a daughter of the Eastern Shore who was tired of watching Andy Harris sell us out. Her grandmother raised her right here in Salisbury, where she taught her the rights that her elders fought for should never be taken for granted. And when your community needs you, you show up. She has spent 20 years in media communication, working her way up at companies like iHeartRadio, the largest radio company in the country. She's seen firsthand how corporate America really operates, and she's done watching them put profits over people. She is running for Congress right here in our District 1 because she believes we deserve a representative who actually fights for the rest of us. It is my pleasure to introduce you to our speaker tonight, Congressional District 1 candidate Randi White.
Hello, 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 hello. I want to make sure everybody can hear my voice very well. And everybody online, we're good? Awesome. So I want to introduce myself to everybody. I am Randi White, born and raised here in Salisbury, actually not too far from where we're sitting right now. And just like Jared put it, I was raised by my mom and pop, and I was raised to care, to know what's going on with government, to ask the questions that needed to be asked, whether that was school, whether that was church, whether that was of my own government. At 8 years old, my favorite TV show was the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather. So that may be a problem moving forward. But that was how I was raised, and I grew up writing letters to the editor, to the Daily Times, writing to Governor Glendening about the bypass that was being built through my neighborhood, and how it would do bad things by going through the largest Black community in Salisbury. Didn't help, but I did something, right? That's awesome. We did walkouts at Y High. That's where I graduated from for when Columbine happened, because we demanded that they talk about our safety when it was just a weird thing all around. I went to college, Bridgewater College in Virginia, because they gave me the most money. And I got two bachelor's degrees, one in communications, the other in psychology. I started my radio career here in Salisbury, Ocean City at iHeartMedia down on Tillman Road. And then I created a whole radio career being an on air personality, as well as running marketing and promotions in multiple markets, from the Shenandoah Valley in Virginia to upstate New York to Nashville to Norfolk, Virginia. And then in 2024, I was hired on to work for Biden in the battleground state of Virginia, in Virginia's second congressional district. That changed over to Vice President Harris. And that is where my imposter syndrome went away. I got to work with a congressional candidate and saw all the things that she did and she didn't do to lose. To lose a race that was winnable, and got some great information from a former congresswoman that flipped a red district blue, and went with it and said, you know what? I got to go beat Andy Harris. So that is why I'm here. Again, as Jared pointed out, we don't do corporate PACs. We don't do consultants here, because the numbers I saw when I was sitting in my bedroom contemplating, do I really do this? The numbers I saw said we win, and we can win big. And that's even before all this other stuff in the last 6 months. So I did that, and I did Emerge boot camp, and they told us all about the people that you needed beside you. And I said, oh, snap, I am not going for some career person who only cares about their career. I need someone that's going to care about the people. So my campaign manager is handpicked. So is my field director, handpicked. Every single person that walks in, from the interns to volunteers, handpicked, because I want them to care about my people. The top three, our big three, I call it, is healthcare access, healthcare costs, all of that good stuff, plus education here, especially when we're looking on the lower shore, where we have 27% poverty rate amongst children in the lower shore counties. We need focus on that. We need federal fundings for the schools down here, as well as the whole district. And then also the cost of living. I know a lot of people focus on affordability. We talk about attainability, because affordability is relative. Affordability, we build affordable housing all the time. Then you look at how much it costs and we wonder, who is this affordable? Mic check. Is that better? That better? You good? Awesome. We good? We got you good? All right, good. So we want to make sure those who haven't been heard are being heard moving forward, and I will put those batteries in if we need it. We want to go around and we want to focus on the people. We want to focus on all the needs that are here by having a a congressman who's been in this district for so long, 15 years and 3 bills. And those 3 bills were appropriation bills, two of them that we're going to pass anyway. And then, of course, renaming one of the postal services over here. That's it. And I want everybody to imagine the job that you had or the jobs that you've had. If you just did 3 things in 15 years, if you just did 3 things in 1 year, how long would you keep that job? That's one of the things we want to take a look at. We have the course to win, and Andy does us favors every single day. I promise you. But I want to turn this into your hands. There's a lot that I could say. There's a lot to say to y'all, but I would love to just do Q&A. If y'all want to get going with it, you can learn more about me, and I'll take them wherever you got them.
Wonderful. So how we're gonna do the Q&A is if you're in person, obviously just raise your hand. I'll bring the mic to you. Hold the mic up to your face like this so they can hear you on Zoom. If you are on Zoom, uh, please when you are asked to unmute, please say your name and county. Um, Again, everyone make sure we be professional and at most times everyone is, but I know with Zoom, I always like to make that claim just in case there's one bad person who gets in and does something that isn't a member. But yeah, so we're gonna hold it over the so um t- sh- sure, might as well. And then Michael, if you can say your name and county first.
Hi, thank you so much, Randi White. Good evening.
Hi.
Hi, how you doing? Yes. Hi, my name is Michael Pan. I'm actually from Virginia in Fairfax County, but I want to ask this very important question because this is obviously for, Black Marylanders, and this question might sound a little controversial, but it's going to have to be asked. So this is very important. So the question I want to ask is, what is your stance on lineage-based cash payment reparations for American freedmen of chattel slavery? Do you advocate for lineage-based cash payment reparations for this group of people? What dollar amount do you support? What is your plan, the timeline, and when will you post lineage-based cash payment reparations for American freedmen of chattel slavery on your website? Because reparations reparations are about lineage, not about race.
Can you repeat that last part? Reparations are about what?
Yeah, so reparations is about a lineage. So in other words, like those who are descendants of chattel slavery in the Eastern Shore of Maryland could prove their lineage through birth certificates such as Negro freedmen, colored
Got it.
American freedmen, and it's happened on the American soil, which happened on the Eastern Shore of Maryland.
Well, Michael, thank you so much for your question about reparations. So, of course, I support reparations. We can trace my lineage to the swamps of Wycomico County as well as Somerset County, and we go back to a long, long way. It's important that reparations finally happens. I want us to be very honest about where we stand as a country right now, though. When it comes to money, the number one, the dollar sign, I don't have a dollar amount for that. Where we were promised 40 acres and a mule, right? That's what we should get the equivalent to with inflation and everything else. That's what we were promised. I agree in what Westmore did. I know a lot of people gave Westmore flack for like stopping research because the research has been done over and over and over again. And all this time, we could have done something about it. It's time to just do something about it. At the same time, look at what's happening in our country right now. We have something that is broken into a million pieces, and we got so much to put back together. It would be a great time to bring it up in Congress. It would be an awesome time to bring it up because while we're fixing everything else, while we're trying to build anew, it would be a great time to bring it up. I can tell you, I don't have a dollar amount. And thank you for pointing out that it's not on my website. We can remedy that, but I think it's a great cause to bring up. But I think we would have to make it what's written is 40 acres and a mule. And then we go from there and to a dollar sign. A dollar sign. Why do I keep saying dollar sign? To a dollar amount. Is that good? Michael?
We do have another question. Okay, sorry, I can hear myself. I don't see any follow-up from him, but I do see some other questions. Do we have any in the audience first? All right, I saw your hand first. So,
Hi, Randy. You mentioned I'm Vivian. I live in Wycomico County. You mentioned healthcare as a part of your platform. Do you support single payer healthcare or what type of healthcare?
I know you have a camera right there, but can I move? Okay. This feels so much better. I feel so far away. So I am for universal healthcare, right? So I think healthcare is a human right, and there's no way we should be dying in debt and still not getting the care that we need, right? Because we have a problem in Wycomico County and the other 8 counties of the Eastern Shore where we don't have access. We don't have specialists. We don't have all those things. And we have to make things attractive for people to come over here. I think the attractiveness is just that people need help, right? That's what it is. So I do support universal health care and working to make that big. Like right now in Congress, they're trying to secure getting those subsidies taken care of, right? For 3 years, right? And I think that that's a band-aid that can help, but we have to further that because the ACA was supposed to be our way into universal health care. So I think we need to work together, especially within liberal spaces and liberal and Democratic Party and stuff, instead of factioning off and saying, no, not that, not that. I think we need to put our heads together because we all have the right answer that we want to help everybody. We want everybody to have the health care and to get a system that works. Whereas Medicare for all, there are parts that I can't agree with. Medicare is a very specific program. It's not meant to be among the masses, but then you have Medicaid that works a little bit better, but then there are states that don't do, like Maryland's Medicaid isn't as good as Virginia's Medicaid. Like a Medicaid in Maryland doesn't allow adults to get dental work, but Virginia does. Like, so there's a lot of work that needs to be done. But yes, universal healthcare is a right. Oh, I would like to go too. I love going to a dentist's office. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, the access is a problem. I am the mother of a kid with autism and ADHD who sees a pediatric neurologist every 3 months. This is so that we make sure his medication is okay, to make sure that, he's good in school, everything else, and ABA therapy and I can't get help for him within a 2 hour ride. So my kid goes to Norfolk, Virginia every 3 months. We got to just pull him out of school all day long to go to this very quick thing, but it's necessary, right? And for ABA therapy, which has helped him so much, he suffers because he doesn't have it, because there's only a couple companies and there's Tidal Health has it, but then, there's a wait. And there's all this other stuff. Like if you have private insurance, they don't tend to help you. You got to go to Medicaid and everything else. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
so we're gonna bounce back and forth. We do have some questions on Zoom, so we're gonna take a question from Zoom, then come back to you, then go back to Zoom. So we're gonna do a lot of bouncing here. You can do either or. You can stand, you can sit, you may do whatever you wish. The next question comes from Zoom, but he's having trouble with his mic, so he asked me to read it. This comes from Ryan in Delma. He asked, "What is your top line criticism of major political parties?" So, what is your top line criticism of the Democratic and Republican Party?
Ryan from Delmar. Hey. So the top line criticisms of the parties, doesn't matter. I feel like we should just care about the people, helping the people. And that's my biggest criticism of both parties sometimes. Like, we have to focus on people, not party. We have a party that's outwardly bigoted and don't care about helping people that look like me or helping anybody or helping themselves. And then we have a party that sometimes it's undercover, but the criticisms of the party, I don't think even matter. I don't even like to focus on that stuff because all it is negative. All I can tell you is you should care. You should have empathy for other people. You should care about the person that lives next to you and what you're supposed to do. You should go out there and work for the good stuff out there. The party BS just doesn't bother me. Oh, sorry. That is my fault. That is my fault.
Next question is, well, I'll walk down. I know, I was like, I just grabbed it to her.
Okay, who?
Hi, my name's Julie, and I am from Wycomico. Just want to say something really quick. I totally agree with you on reparations. It is 40 acres and a mule. It is cash. I don't know what the number gets us, but we can find the money for that because we find the money for all kinds of crazy stuff. But I want to clarify something. So you would not sign on to the Medicare for All Act?
Not as it stands. Okay. Thank you. Only not right now as it stands. What I've seen of it, I worry because I don't think it is accessible for all. Do you know what I mean? Medicare is very specific, and it's specific to all of our young Americans who are 65 plus. And it can't, we lose a bit of equity too. The bill that is there, I worry about equity for people of color, especially Black people. I'm just going to be real about that. I worry about that. I worry that we don't think about it. I worry that some of that has a lot of European background, which is fine, but a lot of the European countries don't have to account for people that look like me. So they don't have that background. I think there's good stuff in it, so we move it in to make everything like work together. It's not a diss on it because it's the same thing we want. It's the same thing everybody wants, universal health care. We just got to get it to the right place to make sure it is all means for all. So that's how I feel about it. I don't think it's bad. I just think we don't get equity out of it, and we have to make sure everybody's taken care of. That's all. All right, who am I?
Oh, next one's on Zoom.
Oh, okay.
So Cindy, if you would like to unmute and ask your question, or if we can unmute Cindy.
Andy Harris just implemented, or he was instructive along with Chris Van Hollen and Angela also Brooks in getting a new sewer treatment plant in my community. And my next door neighbors have been pointing out, look what Andy Harris has done on the ground for us. How would you counter that sort of issue?
You're in Worcester, right?
No, I'm sorry. I'm in Queen Anne's County, North End of Queen Anne's County, Millington.
Okay. Welcome. Thank you so much. So with Andy Harris, everything that he's gotten, quote unquote, has been triad, He has been partnered with our Democratic federal representatives. So in doing that, yeah, he got that for you. Also, we have to take a look at your zip code because that matters to Andy. And your zip code matters to Andy. It matters to all Republicans, where they'll help the ones that he got votes from. They'll help the ones who are higher income. They help the ones who keep them in office, right? In the same instance, he wrote a sad letter about how, Trump was taking away money from Crisfield. Remember, Crisfield was going to get $39 million from the Biden-Harris administration to help lift the houses, to help all the businesses. And He wrote this sad letter that said, hey, you know, that really sucks. That's awful. And then 2 days later, he was the deciding vote with the big, beautiful bill that ripped away Medicaid and EBT and everything else. If you were such a big baller and you cared about people, you would at least leverage that and say, okay, Trump, I hear you. I'll do anything you say, Big Daddy, but give me at least $19 million to give to my people in Chrisfield. He did not do that. So the things that he can do more with, he did not do. He just jumped on a letter with also Brooks and Van Hollen and is taking credit for that. If he can show me what he's actually done and not just a phone call that his staff made to make something happen for someone, when in the face of us, July 2nd, he smacked the people of Chrisfield in the face. That's how we counter that. And also, you make him own everything about Trump. You won't hear me talk about Toupe Fiasco too much, but everything Andy goes along with and everything that's happened with our farmers, with people losing money, et cetera, that's on Andy. So that's what we're going to do with our messaging too.
As long as we're talking about Andy Harris. By the way, Hank Uloff, Somerset County. Andy Harris's signs say "Save the Shore." He's been here 15 years, and Wacomico and Somerset are two of the poorest counties in the state. So thank you, Andy. This question should be a softball, but I want to hear your answer. I know, every night you go to bed and you're dreaming as a freshman congressperson. You're thinking, Democrats are the ones that balance the budget, and then Republicans blow it up. So now it's on your shoulders. What sorts of things would you see support to balance the federal budget?
It's a good question, and you're right. Like, well, you're wrong about one thing. I don't sleep, so I don't go to sleep thinking of it. So to balance the budget, we're looking at, oh God, how do we balance something that's just like tipped over so far? Would we add like 1.4 trillion, they said the other day? Yeah, in the last year. Well, we want to make sure that as a freshman and coming in and doing everything for Maryland One, that we come in and we bring that money to us. Because there's money there for us, but nobody fights for us. Nobody fights for us. We want to make sure that we're fighting the other 7 districts, and we're getting some of that money for our education, for that healthcare access. We want to pull money out of different departments. So I'm okay with the defense spending if we're giving it to vets, which we're not. I'm okay with spending a lot of money, not on military, not fighting, but taking care of the people that put their lives on the line. I know that, we feel a certain way about militarization. My God, I didn't get that right. But the military and fighting overseas and everything else, and we don't want war. We don't want any of that. But we still have people that did that got hurt. And I don't know a reason why veterans are unhoused in this country. I'd like to put money back into education, reform the Department of Education, because that's been shot to hell. That sucks. And also, I want to make sure we have the money in there for like our farmers, small businesses, and make sure we incentivize going to small businesses. Take the money, the kickbacks that all the corporate companies, bless you, corporate companies get from putting people, not giving living wages, right? So like Walmart, for example, if they don't pay a living wage to their constituents, their employees, they get to go on Medicaid, they get to go on SNAP benefits. And so Walmart gets a kickback. They save money by not paying a living wage, and then Walmart gets a kickback from the states and from federal, and that's got to stop. We can't incentivize that. And I think we need to, I hate wasting money on investigations and stuff like that, because those should be the softball things, but we gotta investigate a lot of people. Antitrust, we gotta look where Elon Musk stole our money, stole from the people of America and everything else. And their ID. You. all of our ID, everything about us. You know, he's not going to find anything great about me, but I think it kind of sucks. And when people wonder like what happened and why, you know, Tupe Fiasco had a problem with people having EBT. Like when he finally gave up, you know, on Snap, and then he called on the USDA to like cancel everybody because that money's not there anymore, and it went to Doge. That's where it is. Who we got? I love how I look around like there's somebody here or there. They just out of nowhere. Jasmine. I can take someone here. How about we take someone here and then y'all work it out? Who else wants to? Yay.
Hi, Catherine. Catherine Culbertson. I actually live in Worcester County, but I am also from Fairfax. A transplant last 5 years. Thank you so much for coming tonight. It is wonderful to meet you, and I have to say that I'm super impressed with the level of experience that you have at the federal level. I didn't know about that until you were just talking about it today. Not that I've done all the research, but I think that that's a huge benefit to people in this area to know that you have that type of experience, like you've worked in, you know, the federal government sphere, not necessarily on anybody's particular campaigns or whatever, but just the fact that you understand the process is a huge sell, I think. And I actually did a lot of work in the federal government sphere as well when I was younger. So my big issue down here is schools. Believe it or not, I don't actually have children in schools, but one of the reasons my husband and I retired to this area is we are educators, still working in education. But in Worcester County, we have a phenomenal system that's been built over about 40 years at this point, that is a real community school system. Unfortunately, we also look like we are the wealthiest county in the state. And so about 70 to 80% of our funding comes from local sources. And we are constantly fighting with our commissioners because they don't want to put that much of a bill when everybody else around them is paying much less in at the county level, and are very concerned about revenues disappearing over the next 5 to 10 years that they won't have accessible. So I know it's kind of a tricky situation or a tricky question to ask you, but what is it that you think you could do as a congressperson at the federal level to combine with what the state is already doing to make education accessible at that community school level? You know, the small classrooms, well-paid educators, having adequate educators in classroom or, you know, with students to make a real difference and make this a place that people want to come live also.
Thank you so much. So I love that you pointed out Worcester County and how it makes it look like, I'll come to the camera now, makes it look like you're the wealthiest county, because you're not, actually. And just a real quick background, she's talking about my experience on a federal level with campaigning, not necessarily I was in it. My mother and my stepmother are all educators. My mom worked for the state of Maryland for 40 plus years, and she'll tell you every chance she can get, right? She retired in Worcester County and now works at Salisbury University to help other teachers that are coming up. So education is a big deal. These community schools, if you don't know, are important. They call them Title I throughout the nation, but these schools are working to help with the underserved kids. And in these schools, one of the biggest things for them is the fact that they feed the kids. I know. It's weird, but they actually feed kids free breakfast, free lunch, and that's everyone, not just people who need free and reduced lunch. So one of the things that we need to do, and that Andy Harris hasn't done, is taken our fair share of the money that's there for education. So when we look at all the The 7 other districts, they have great schools. They still have their problems, obviously. The teachers are paid well. There are a lot of people that get their degree here that go to Howard County, that go to Frederick County to get paid or whatever. So what we need is that extra, that 7th person saying, hey, don't forget about us because we need it. And we bring that money that is for us and we take it. Personally, I start at the lower shore. I start in Somerset, Worcester, and Wycomico, and Dorchester too, because those are the ones that are suffering the most. Those are the ones where the teachers aren't getting paid. Those are the ones where the schools are overcrowded. They don't have enough. They don't have enough special education teachers. Those are things that I'm fighting in every single day. They don't have enough in their gifted programs, and they're not feeding the kids. So we would have to work on the federal level to get that money, but also, and local electeds might hate this, but because I'm for the people and I want to work for my people, I call everybody in this district my people. There's some accountability I got to hold them to, right? If I send that money down to you, down to your county in this, I got to make sure you're giving it to the kids. I got to make sure you're giving it to the teachers. I got to make sure that you're making sure that there are crayons in every classroom and that those teachers don't have to come out their pocket for it. If that money is coming for the first time ever, you got to answer questions. So from county commissioners, I love y'all, but y'all, if I'm gonna match what you have, you gotta show it. You gotta show the care for the kids. You gotta show that. So that's what I would do. I believe in the partnership between local and federal electeds, and I believe, and also if y'all didn't know, your federal representative is supposed to have your back at every level. So say for example, you get, right? Say for example, you're on unemployment, you apply for unemployment and you haven't gotten your check yet. You haven't gotten a deposit yet. And you're calling, they're telling you to fax stuff and everybody's just like lollygagging. You have the ability to call up your representative, email them, whether it's your senator, one of the 2 senators, or your congressional representative. You call them up and they have like this little emergency button underneath the table, and then you get a check within like 7 days. So make sure you know that. And everybody should know that you have somebody on your side, even when you think it's just state or local. And with me as your representative, you definitely got somebody to fight your battles for you. We went in, so out.
This next one's online from Lil Joe in his Somerset County, correct? And his question is, he wrote a letter regarding the issues with the school board, and he being Andy Harris. Andy Harris wrote a letter regarding the issues with the Board of Education in Somerset County, supporting them. How do you feel about Somerset County's school board and the situation that's going on there? Okay.
I'm so excited for this one. Thank you so much, Joe, for bringing it up, because I also have a call to action on this. If you don't know what's happening in Somerset County, you need to get educated on it right now. Somerset County is a beautiful place, and everybody is going to ignore it except this candidate because they don't think that you're worth the time. But I'm telling you, everybody, including Joe, who's running for school board, and BT Dubs, you got 5 days left to run for something, to go ahead and get your name on the ballot for 2026. And if you're in Somerset County and you care about those kids in Somerset County, get on the school board. Don't worry if you don't have it. You know what? I'll knock doors with you. I'm gonna knock doors with everybody in Somerset County. The problem is we got a ton of people, ton of kids who now have a school board that doesn't represent what they look like and who they are. And the things that they have said to people like Joe, to people that go out there and say nasty things, I'm shocked they haven't said the full-blown N-word. I think that what's happening, and then the fact that they kicked out a Black woman with a PhD as superintendent of schools in Somerset County and replaced them with a guy who was kicked out of Dorchester County for messing up their schools. And today they just gave him a 4-year contract. They don't care about the kids that are there. They're kids that grew up in Princess Anne. kids that go to Chrisfield, the kids that grow up in Deal Island don't have anybody on that board that looks like them, and they don't care about them. And my call to action is actually to our governor. Y'all gonna get mad at me for this. I love him. Love you, Wes. I fall for every thirst trap, but you need to show up for those people at that school board meeting. You need to show up for your people and show them that you care. And seeing their voice, you have the same like 20 people in Somerset County fighting. And that's a shame. That whole community is ready to fight. And the rest of us, and I say all of us for all of us all the time, we need to take a bus down or just, jump in everybody's passport, everybody's car, and go down there and support them. It is tough down there. It feels like 1966, and it shouldn't be. You're going even lower. It shouldn't be. And that's why, and I swear to you, if you can run, if you just care about the kids in Somerset County, please just put your name on the ballot. Hey, I got a lot of people on my team that can help you. Get on the ballot and save those kids, because these people don't care. I promise you they don't care. And it's really sad. And if you want a rundown, I know WMDT has it in the article of that guy getting a 4-year contract. I reposted it on my Facebook. But do your research on that. It is sad. And Joe, I may not be able to say much. Andy Harris, also in that letter for Andy Harris, sorry, you asked about Andy Harris too. He actually put in there that the state superintendent of schools should not put her voice into what's happening in Somerset County schools. Make it make sense. That is her job. And this is all over his big daddy Trump and his DEI declaration. And so what he's saying with no DEI, whenever they say that, they really mean no Black people, right? But you're also alienating white women. You're alienating people of different abilities. You're alienating like those IEPs that these kids need. Disabilities don't know party. They don't know any of that. We need to take care of everybody. So that's how I feel about it, Joe. You got me hyped up. I learned so much. And Somerset County is going to be a force. And I can't wait to be knocking on doors next weekend there. All right. Oh, wait, in here. Next. All right, ask your question. What's next?
Next one was asked, Marie asked me to read this. So this is Marie in Berlin, so Worcester County. She asked, would it have been easier to have Medicare for all and just make the adjustments to make it better for all communities?
That's a good question. You have, so the ACA you already had a foundation, right? I know everybody doesn't want to hear that and nobody wants to pay for it, but the ACA has your foundation for universal health care. And there have been plans since 1993 because of a woman with a big mouth to go universal health care. I don't know if you want to say would it have been okay to go Medicare for all. Who do you think would have implemented Medicare for all? That's what I want to ask. Also, again, Medicare itself, we got to remember that words mean things. So Medicare itself cannot sustain everybody. It's 65 plus. And I see what you mean. Like, wouldn't it be better to just pass it and then just fix the problem from there? But that's what we have with the ACA. So we have the ACA that has the foundations of universal health care, and we just need to make moves on that. But we have to be consistent in voting. If we keep going back and forth, Hank brought up earlier that, Democrats solve the money problems, and then we vote in Republicans and they tear it up. We have to be consistent in giving the people that care, the Democrats, the House and the Senate. If we can't be consistent in that, and this is what I was saying earlier, getting rid of the factions, we all believe in helping people. And we shouldn't be, well, I'm not going to vote for that person because that phrase wasn't the phrase I wanted. No. That's the difference in politics. We can make with that. Like, we're talking, you either get the person that you mostly agree with, but they don't say the phrase you want, or you get someone that's like, let's light all this shit on fire. So you really want to make sure that we're paying attention to the people that care and the people that will work for the things that you want. Universal health care, if you want to say Medicaid for all, Medicare for all, hey, everybody, let's get a free pap smear. Whatever you want to call it, let's make sure that some people got uneasy about that, but that's a life thing. That's what we need to work with. We need to get rid of that pickiness and make sure that we are doing the right thing for the people completely. Yes.
The next question is from Mark and Alice, and it looks like we have Mark. If you can say your name and county and ask Randy your question.
Yes, this is Mark Imlay. On the issue of artificial intelligence versus people solving problems, the truth is the best results are when you do both. An example is when they have a new patient, the research show they're coming into a hospital and diagnosing them, the AI gives a good result and the common sense gives a good result. And the combination of the two is much better than one or the other alone. So that's the answer to that question that was raised.
Thank you for your comments on AI. I appreciate that. I don't think anybody asked about AI, but I appreciate your comments on them. We have to find a balance. There has to be, everybody hates the R word, regulation, but we have to watch that. We have to watch intellectual properties and everything else for sure. I think that's what you're asking. Oh, okay. All right. Okay, well, cool. I'm sorry about that. I am not AI. I am the real thing. Is it real or is it Memorex? That's what it used to be.
Yeah. My name is Brian. Just recently come to Wycomico County. I have a couple of questions. You mentioned originally, I think one of your pillars was the cost of living. And I'm interested in your ideas on how you can improve affordability for ordinary people. Everything seems to be getting out of reach for people, like getting your car fixed, doing work on your house, going to the grocery store. And then the other question, which ties into the AI, is very rapidly we're likely to be seeing increased use of automation, which may impact people's jobs. What do you think the government should be doing? Seems like there's almost no planning at the moment to address this freight train that's coming down the tracks. So it ties into affordability. If you don't have a job, then you really can't afford anything. So any thoughts on all of that?
Thank you, love. And if you couldn't hear, because he has such a wonderful accent, I love the accent. Brian asked about cost of living, to talk about cost of living, as well as that tying into AI. So thanks to Mark for bringing up AI. So cost of living is a big deal for me. I've been around here my whole life and had family members who were able to work in like Campbell Soup, to work for Northrop Grumman, to work for Dresser Wayne, where they had stability, where they were able to have like a pension plan at the end of everything. And we don't have any of that. Like you got Purdue. And that kind of sucks. We hear all the time about PG County, Montgomery County, Baltimore getting all these great places to work that are going to pay these high wages. And we don't have it here. So it's got to be it's multifaceted. So one of the things is to make us attractive to people. We're already pretty darn attractive, I think. We have the space and we have people that want to work. And if we don't bring industries in, then we can forget about the healthcare access. If we don't bring the industries in, we can forget about everything. One of the things I want to do is we have to fix the environment. So we have to talk to Purdue and have them clean up their corporate mess that they have so that the smaller farmers can get in there and work. We clean up the Bay as well as the ocean, and we make sure that our watermen have a chance to make a living, to get the oysters back, to get the fish back, and get rid of the bad catfish and everything else. Because I think there's this weird dichotomy that it's farmers or the watermen when everybody can coexist together. Also, we want to make sure that our small businesses are flourishing, or people get a chance to have their small businesses, right? Where there are grants, where there's more grants available, or actual money for those, and have associations for different groups and all, and then incentivize people to visit those small businesses. The day after Black Friday isn't enough. We need to have a really good restaurant week and tell people go downtown Salisbury. There's Mojo's, there's all these places to go eat instead of going to like Chili's, because that's what we've done all up and down 13. It's just chain after chain. And I think if we invest in small business, invest in bringing better companies, invest in clean energy, and making sure that it's not just going to the other side of the bay, it comes here. We have to focus on that, and that'll help even things out, because we do have a lot of living situations where it costs so much more, but there's literally no industry here that's going to help that. You got retail or you got Purdue, and that sucks. And it's been that way for a while, since all those manufacturers left. And then with AI, you have to, again, I said it before, you got to regulate it. And nobody's wanting to regulate it. And we have to. We have to protect people, because there's the work side of it, right? But then there's the dark side of it, where we know that people have committed suicide at the request or the suggestion of Chat GPT or something. It can be a great tool, but we have to make sure we can watch it and watch what they're doing, all the data plants and everything else. We got to make sure that we're keeping the environment better, for all the water that they use and everything else.
So this one again comes from Ryan and Delma. What are your thoughts on dissolving ice? This is a two-parter. What are your thoughts on dissolving ice and prosecuting anyone? A big difference there. Prosecuting anyone in the department who has broken the law.
Welcome back, Ryan from Delmar. So I think that ICE as it exists today has to go away. Which way do you want me? I'm good. Okay. So ICE as it exists today has got to go. We got to disband them, and we got to hold everybody accountable for every injury, for every kidnapping, for every murder, for every nuisance that they've done within our communities. We've got to hold every single person accountable for that. So prosecution and accountability starts at the bottom. And the reason why you start at the bottom, if you listen to Jack Smith talk about all the information he had on Tupe Fiasco, he started at the bottom because it made them nervous, and that Tupe Fiasco wasn't holding water for anybody else. He was only looking out for himself. So it was very easy for them to say, for him to go to like a Rudy Giuliani and be like, hey, he's not paying you to get this out. So he told everything. Everybody snitched on him. And the only reason why he's in the White House is because people voted for him. But we have to do the same thing when it comes to ICE, because when you start with the agents, you start with their supervisors, you eventually get to Pam Bondi, you eventually get to Kash Patel, and you get him in the White House. But everybody needs to be held accountable. Now, when it comes to what you do after this iteration goes away, we got to fix a problem that's been there for 30 plus years. The bureaucracy is a mess. If you've ever been to the MVA, that's irritated you just going to the MVA. So we got to find a way to do things better, so that when our people come here and they want to stay here and they want to be citizens, they can do it and be able to live whatever American dream that they want to have here, and do so without fear of someone trying to kidnap them. I think it's great what everybody's doing. They're protesting and they're saying, we're not taking this. We got to take it a step further sometimes right now. I think that pressure is on them to stop being around as much. And I think once we hold everybody accountable, they'll stop doing bad things. Also, really quickly, I want to make sure that everyone recognizes that there's a direct line of a lack of accountability from when officers were killing Black people to the reason why they're doing what they're doing now. So that's why we always have to be looking out for each other. It's all of us for all of us, because it's going to come around again. No.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, on that note, have a good night. No, I'm just kidding. Um, First, before I jump into that, Debbie Cross Smith from Bival says, "Nice to meet you." So she's watching. I know that's close to home for Connor. So he's from out there. So yeah. So my question is, well, Jared Chadline, Salisbury, right here in beautiful Wacomico County. Um, my question is, obviously, there's an energy crisis here in the state of Maryland. We currently have an energy project that has all of its federal and state permits in offshore wind. Our current congressman is very against the concept of offshore wind. What are your thoughts on that project and green energy in general?
I'm so glad you asked. Your project, is it in the ocean or the bay? I know.
It's not my project, but the project itself starts 27 miles off the coast in the ocean, and at its closest in stage 4 would be about 11 miles off. It would be between 120th Street and 174th Street in Ocean City, but it would be very difficult to see. The only time you'd be able to see it is early January, like early dead of winter morning hours when there's no fog. So it's in the ocean.
Thank you so much. Don't you like how we all say ocean where we're from? So I believe in wind energy. I think it's a great idea. And it's more, our energy crisis on the Eastern Shore would be solved by having it off the coast of the ocean in that same realm. So about 20, 30 miles off the coast a little bit. And we would see cheaper bills by far and large. And it's brand new energy. And we've been sitting and talking with environmentalists about this and how it would work, how it's much more efficient being in the ocean than it is in the bay. And that's what they're working on down in Virginia Beach, like straight down to Virginia Beach. And they have a congresswoman who's not in favor of it, but they're still going through with it because it will make a difference. It will be beneficial to the people, and Indians don't care about that. So I believe in the wind energy and investing in that and keeping on with that and making sure that we actually do that. So that would be a big old yes for me. Let's do that.
Thank you. And to your point of the Virginia one, they actually just sent out the last bit of turbines today. It should be online this spring. The next question actually goes to our second favorite person from Bival, so I have to give it to Debbie tonight. Connor over there, if you want to, do you want me to walk it over?
I'll walk. I'll do my walk. If I fall, don't film it.
Okay, so my wife is a school teacher. 100%. She put me up to this. She can't be here tonight because she's got other stuff to do. But what she wants to know is, what is your plan? Hold on, I have it in front of me to make sure I have this right. What is your plan to what is your plan to encourage what is your plan to encourage qualified teachers to maintain their, like, what is your plan to keep qualified teachers in their jobs? Basically.
I hope his wife is watching this because he flubbed that completely. No. Well, we got to put money in their pockets. That's like the first thing you got to do. There are a lot of teachers are literally the best people out there. They have patience for especially the little ones that most of us with little ones don't have. And so we should treat them as such. We're putting a lot of people in high paying jobs that don't do anything. But I believe the best thing is to make sure, one, the teachers are paid. Their salaries are legitly like they can go out there. Two, like support them. It's amazing how many teachers come out of pocket for just the little things, whether it's pencils, crayons, supplies. If they want to do a cute little crafty thing, because that's what teachers do, they're awesome. They got to come out of pocket for that. And that's not fair. We should have enough of those supplies in the schools to do that. Also, I think there's some, especially in Wycomico County, I can say that right now. And in my experience as a parent, I think that if you had better training for special education and the different areas, there are different ways that we can do it where you're not putting that heavy lifting on teachers who aren't in it for special education. That doesn't mean you don't care about special education, but there's a lot that goes into it. And sped teachers are God's gift to creation, as well as the other teachers as well. But you're putting a lot on the teachers to have special education, the kids that are in the class all day long. You're not getting them extra help like you need it. I do have a story I can share with y'all one time, but we want to keep the qualified teachers here. We got to pay them. We got to support them. We got to incentivize them, maybe a couple extra days off. I don't know, that might work for them too, but we want to support them monetarily, definitely. And also fix the schools. That would be great, and not overcrowd the classrooms. There's so much to say about that. Where are we going? Last call for not alcohol.
Hopefully this is a wrap up. So I'd be really interested in knowing if you are elected and you make it through 10 years, what is your vision for what Congress is going to look like, what the shore, what District 1 is going to look like 10 years from now?
Oh man, that's a really good question. My work, I feel like 10 years spent well would be if I see the flourishing on the shore, especially. If I can see that kids are having good meals, if I can see that we don't have food deserts in Somerset County or Wycomico County, in Caroline County, if I can see that Cecil County has, a lot of flourishing small businesses, if I can see that we can see specialists not only in Salisbury, but to see them in Denton, if I can see that people don't get misdiagnosed because they can't afford that trip to Johns Hopkins, that's when I know that it was a job well done, that I fought to make sure that we got people here. If I can see that there's, housing costs and the wages that are equaled up because of collaboration, getting the federal funding and working with state electeds and local electeds and everyone, that's the way I want to see Maryland won. I want to see us popping, just everything about the shore, the beauty that's on the shore, that we have people that can stay. Because for so long, I'm one of those people that grew up here and had to leave to make stuff happen, to make a life for my kids. And that's the story of most people that grow up here and they have to leave. Some of them didn't want to. I loved coming back home. I loved looking and being like, well, can I stay full time yet? Oh, no, can't do that. I want people to be able to say, I grew up here, my kids grew up here. We got this restaurant that's we got this boutique. If that mall that came in 1992 and it was hopping back in from the 90s to like the 10s, if that mall can have local stores in that, we did the right thing. I would like to see Congress be consistently blue, or at least if it's going to be a little bit red, that they actually care. I would like to see us with universal health care in less than 10 years. I want to see people not waiting to just die. I want to see people who are thriving. I want to see people who are able to afford their insulin. And I want to see people get the help that they need without feeling bad about it. If you got to get Medicaid, if you got to get SNAP to take care of you, to take care of your family, there's nothing wrong with that. And no one should ever make you feel ashamed for that, ever. But I want people to not have to need that. That's what it is. And I know that's dreams upon dreams upon dreams. But I'm my ancestors' wildest dream, right? They never thought that a girl that looked like me from this area would be running for Congress, right? Would be building a volunteer force that's massive within the Eastern Shore plus Harford County and Baltimore County. I'm my ancestors' wildest dreams. So I know my wildest dreams, I know that if I fight for them, we can make them rock. We can make it work. And we can make this district, especially this lower shore, we can kick ass and take names. I'm just saying, I know that is possible. And let me step up here and let Jared do everything if there's not another question.
Perfect. Thank you for that. Do you want to add any more closing thoughts, or was that kind of? Yeah, how we'll close tonight is you'll give your closing. I know everyone likes to run away after that point. I do have a few updates. It's take 2 minutes. The last thing I will say before I hand it back over, if you are on Zoom, we're asking a question. There's a poll going on right now about audio quality tonight. We're waiting on 3 more responses. If you can let us know how our new tech equipment did, it'd be much appreciated. So with that, bring us home, Randy.
This is my favorite part. So thank y'all for coming out here. Thank you if you're on the Zoom. I appreciate y'all spending your time with me. This is all very personal because I care. I laugh, I smile, and all that stuff, but I care passionately about my people here in this district. There are things that, yeah, there hasn't been an office held, there hasn't been this and that, but I'm here for you. I'm here to do the fight. I'm here to listen to all those things that you complain about. And my grandmother always taught me, don't complain about something if you're not going to do anything about it. I got tired of complaining. I got tired of complaining about what happened in 2024. I get tired of watching this shore get treated like the redheaded stepchild. Apologies to all the gingers out there. You're great. Um, the I'm tired of seeing that, and I've seen it my whole life, and it's really just makes me upset to know that it's still happening. There are so many voices here on the shore that get ignored, and I'm ready to listen, and I'm ready to do the work for y'all. This Sunday, actually, we're doing kitchen table conversations. The town hall isn't like this, where I stand in front of you. If you, as you saw, I would rather be with you. So we sit in a circle, kind of group therapy style, and we talk about the issues, but we also talk about solutions. And that's happening in Salisbury at the Salvation Army on Lake Street, the Boys and Girls Club. You can come out there 3 to 5 p.m. We got a little bit of snacks. We're a grassroots campaign, y'all, so don't expect gourmet. So I want y'all to take a look at my website, randyformd.com. That's Randy with an I, FORMD.com. Check out my socials and just kind of get my vibe. Get the vibe, get the hard work that we're putting in. We put in 7,000 miles throughout this district already. We care. We really do. And I also want you to know you're doing a great job out there protesting, showing up to meetings like this. This is exactly what fights against fascism, knowing that people want to stand up. So give yourself a high five by yourself if you can. And also volunteer, knock on doors. We're knocking on doors throughout this whole entire district. The numbers show it. The numbers show exactly what can win this district without anything else happening. And we door knock, we're making phone calls, we're writing postcards, and we would love to have you a part of our team. And I think that's all I have to say, except I love everybody.
Thank you, Randy. Can we give her a round of applause for coming down? Thank you all, everyone, for joining us tonight. As I said, this is the first part of our series, so we'll be having some other candidates. Thank you for being our guinea pig in the sense of having all these new technology and bearing with us as our mic died. So we really appreciate it. So now we know. So I do want to give 2 quick updates for everyone. Our electoral committee will be meeting next week. I see 2 of our best members in the back there. I know I owe you both emails. I'm doing them both tonight. So thank you for coming in and reminding me. I was like, I haven't sent them to them yet. So okay, that also works. So if you're interested in joining us for that, we're going to be sending more information. That's going to be virtual. Our community outreach committee is going to start meeting again in person and hybrid. We needed 1 more month to get everything taken care of, but we've got some things put together. So now we're ready to launch those again. Our legislative committee is meeting every Monday night on Zoom to give updates on what's going on in Annapolis, what progressive legislation's moving. So if you want to know what's going on in Annapolis, we're doing a great series every Monday night. And then finally, our next monthly meeting is March 5th. We are going to be doing our endorsement vote from everything from Congress to Central Committee to everything in between. So be prepared in advance to that. Everyone has the deadline, or I guess I should turn to you for this. Candidates have until March the 3rd at 5 p.m. to get in their questionnaires. Immediately at 5 p.m., all of the information, their answers are being loaded and sent out to members, so you have a chance to review this documentation before you vote. How they stand on all the key issues that we talked about tonight and some others, housing, environment. If there's a progressive issue, I promise it's somewhere on that questionnaire. Our friends in the back will tell you we took 3 months on the questionnaire and we left no stone unturned. So yeah, there'll also be a guest speaker that night. We're still working on that as we speak, but just be on the lookout for that. March 5th, 6:30, both right here in Inspire 1 or on Zoom. So with that, thank you all so much for coming. Yeah. And with that, we can go ahead and end the meeting.